Hello, this is Michael Wojcik with the City Council update for May 16th, 2011. And who is with me today?
Lisa Wojcik.
And how do I know you?
I think we're married.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Hard to really remember because we don't see each other very much anymore. So
10 years in July, actually.
Yeah, there you go.
Not that I want to celebrate this year.
No, and who else is with us then?
I guess the baby that's due in August is with us also.
Yep, that's how you feeling?
I've had better days. I've had worse days.
Yeah, I figured time for a guest appearance, so unborn baby would be a outstanding guest, and I just felt it'd be appropriate that you be here then as well.
I think 3-year-old would help more for viewers.
Yeah, probably. She is sleeping hopefully finally. She go to sleep nice and easy tonight?
She went to sleep. She'd be talking about bunnies right now.
Okay. 3 things we're going to talk about. So the latest final decision on Villa Chateau Road has been made, and there were some owners that didn't want to work with the city in any way to secure a safe route for pedestrians between the North Park area and the shopping center around Sam's Club. And Builder Beck and I maintained our pretty strong opposition to the project, but we lost 5-2. So what's your thoughts on having our daughter tricycling next to a busy road?
I wouldn't like that too much. Isn't that one of the reasons we moved from our first house?
Yeah, we actually moved to the neighborhood that we're in because it was just abysmal safety accommodations. This is one of those township areas that became the city, and it didn't have sidewalks. It had narrow streets. It had no street lights really.
But the neighbors were great.
Neighbors were awesome. That's I miss some of them. At small world, but current fire marshal Van Swisher was lived 2 doors down from us, and remember when they had their kids and we just saw them and they were huge.
And he moved from that neighborhood too.
Yeah, except he moved to Stewartville, and I don't think the city of Rochester's ever quite forgiven him. We also bought a fire station, which that seems to be what the people are most interested in today. It was expensive.
What was it, 1.5 million? Is that?
Yeah, it's a lot of money for a piece of land, and think is coming out of this smelling like a rose because they bought that land at the height of the bubble for 1.5 million, and now they're selling it to the city for 1.5 million. Clearly, we overpaid for it, so I think the question is, why in God's name did we pay that price for it, and why would we want to get a premium piece of property like that? And it really goes down to 2 things. First of all, the most important thing with fire coverage is response time, and with response time, the better where we situate our fire departments matter. And there were 2 other parcels of land that we considered up in the area. They all cost about the same amount, but due to the requirements for where we could actually access Villa Road and East Circle Drive, this was identified as the ideal property. Maybe we could have gotten a better bargain on a piece of property elsewhere, but the issue is the further we move that away from that access point to the 2 main roads, the worse our response time gets. And if we actually went back 20-30 years, we were on pace for a city this size of needing 8 fire departments, but because we took the steps and bought some really choice parcels of land and located our fire departments very well, we actually covered the city with 5 fire departments, whereas it was projected we would have needed 8. So it does cost a little bit more up front, and 1.5 million is a lot of money. I've also challenged staff. It's 8 acres of land. I don't think we need any more than 2 of it. Any of this other stuff, I don't want to see us duplicating any county functions up there by any means. But public safety is number 1, and it is an expensive piece of property. But if we only take 2 acres out of there, we're going to be able to turn around and sell back some of this real estate, maybe up to 6 acres of developable land. So that's one of the things I challenge our staff to do, is be as efficient with the land as possible, take what we need, but look to sell off some of this other choice real estate, because every acre of land that's in the city, part of city government doesn't pay property taxes, and that's that much more that we all have to pay. So I think those are the 2 things I'd say about that. Staff, considered this for several years, and this was their recommendation, and we had a committee of the whole meeting to discuss it. I was a little disappointed that it's always frustrating to me that if we have a committee of the whole meeting and 6 out of 7 members of the council are there and have an opportunity to ask their questions, and ask my questions as well, and then Actually went in and talked with staff for about an hour afterwards, really drilling them down on if this was absolutely necessary, and they believed that it was the appropriate decision. What's irritating is when that one person who wasn't at the meeting comes back and says, well, I think we need more questions answered. Well, that's why we had a committee of the whole meeting earlier in the day, and it's like, if you weren't there, fine, but don't be the person suggesting we need more time when you skip the meeting. So I think that's the end of that rant. Let's see, how are we doing for time? We're doing all right. The Minnesota Energy Building had a competitive process. The Girard Corporation won. I recused myself from the vote because I'm on the board of directors for the Good Food Store, a potential future tenant in that location. No decisions are final at this point, but certainly need opportunity. What do you think of the Good Food Store?
Love going there. Daughter always talks about the French fries there.
Yeah.
She's a big fan of them.
Likes the pancakes too.
Yeah.
So let that be a lesson. French fries, just because it's the Good Food Store doesn't mean everything's really healthy there.
Our 3-year-old constantly decides, good food store, good food store.
Yep.
One of her favorite restaurants in town. So.
Yep, I'm quite all right with that as well. The neat thing about this is it was a competitive process. What we've learned is every time we have a competitive process, we tend to get better projects, and they tend to be unpopular with the people who lose. Cascade Creek that's going up at Civic Center and 6th Street, that was a competitive project, and the foundation made the correct choice and picked the better project, even though it was a Twin Cities developer and not the Rochester developer that won it, but it was the right decision. And quite frankly, some of those downtown good old boys, you kind of have a pretty good feel for who they are. They wanted the city to, or the foundation, just to give it to the local person anyways, even though the quality of the project was vastly inferior. And had a little bit of that in this one too. We had, with the 5 bidders that were involved, one of them got taken out early because we had asked for market rate housing here, and their proposal was for affordable subsidized housing. And one of the things that was important was have an active ground use, and quite frankly, the only local developer that was still in it didn't have a active ground use. They ignored one of the basic criterias, and then after that, just tried to play some political games. By the way, we had an independent rating committee, and the top 3 were fairly competitive, all scoring in the 700s in terms of the number of points. The project that finished dead last had about 500 points, but there were some people in that downtown community that still thought that we should pick the local person no matter what, and I believe I want the best of the best here, and I think we're getting a great quality project. The architecture that you've seen in the Post Bulletin is actually very preliminary, and I think it's actually going to get a lot better as it continues to evolve. I think it's going to be an absolutely spectacular site and really anchor that part of downtown, assuming, people don't try putting politics over good policy, which sometimes happens. So there it is. How do you feel about your community debut? Yeah, you were able to.
Not much to say about it, I guess.
Not much to say about it. How do you like all these meetings that I have all the time?
Well, like our 3-year-old says, the daddies on the bus go meeting, meeting, meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
For those of you who aren't familiar with the song "The Wheels on the Bus," we add a few extra verses.
Actually, given my typical audience, they're probably as familiar with this as anyone's going to be. That's probably some of their favorite songs. So.
But now you know the daddies on the bus go meeting, 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 meeting.
Yeah.
And by the way, Anna loves going for a bus ride through town. It's one of her favorite hobbies.
Yep, and she loves the bus stops downtown, so take that, all of you. Yeah, how often am I home in the evenings typically?
Maybe once a week.
Once or twice a week, probably. Yeah.
Not often enough.
Yeah, it's one of
That'll
those.
change.
Yeah, it's going to be that, or I'll have my other daughter with me, but it'll be a challenge no matter what. So, what do you think we need to? What's your biggest concern in the city?
Safety for children.
That's what you're into? Yeah, it's we're kind of spoiled where we are. I mean, we back up to a beautiful park, and we've got great sidewalks and good visibility, good lighting. But every neighborhood in the city should be a great neighborhood. And quite frankly, we've built some pretty mediocre ones, and at some point we got to pay the piper on that. Anastasia likes the going to meetings, though, right?
Sometimes she wishes her daddy was home more. Tonight she kept saying that she wanted daddy.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. She's typically a lot more fun than most people that I hang out with too, and frequent times much more articulate as well. Any final thoughts?
Good night.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching.